All right. I didn't expect to make a video today. I thought I was gonna have a winning session, but I decided to play one more hour, and I was up 5 buy-ins, and I lost 5.5 buy-ins in an hour. So here I am, losing session, PIO video. Set up a set in a 200 big blind, 400 big blind pot, 200 big blinds effective. Not great for your EV. Not great. But anyway, another button versus blind battle. Villain opens, Reggie sizing. I 3-bet. I think this is standard so far. Big blind folds. We're off to see a flop. I'm doing a lot of these button versus blind 3-bet videos because 1, the pots are bigger, and 2, these situations come up a lot more. So if we commonly find a spot where we are playing for a lot more money, I think those make the most sense to nail down. And then you can make an argument for flatting 5s here sometimes if maybe the big blind was a huge fish or we were super deep here and 5s played better as a flat to set mine. But I guess versus the button open, I would prefer to 3-bet just because the range is wider, whereas versus under the gun, where they have more nutted hands where you're going to get paid when you flop a set, maybe flatting is better. But overall, just not really flatting in the small blind. Really ever, barring some, super deep or giant fish in the blind behind me. Anyway, this is flop ace jack 3 rainbow. I think this is a pretty standard continue for about a third. We're going to be c-betting probably our entire range on ace jack 3. I mean, we can maybe check back ace deuce suited, ace 4 suited, our worst aces, and then kings. But I think even kings I'm going to bet. Probably a third just with my whole range. He doesn't really get to raise on this board. If he raises 3s, I think that's just moronic. He's going to call all of his continuing range here, including hands like king, queen, queen 10, that type of stuff. And he does. The turn is a king of spades, and I think on this type of board where we're actually going to struggle to find bluffs, now that I look at it, I think we're going to have some 8, 9 of spades type hands, 6, 7 of spade type hands that are going to turn a spade draw here and turn themselves into bluffs. But I think also with our worst hands, 5s don't really have showdown value here. All of his draws improve. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn this. I think I turn this one into a bluff. I don't. Does having the 5 of spades matter? I don't think so. If the ace was not a spade and maybe the jack was, I think then it would matter because he could definitely have ace 5 of spades. But since I don't think he has jack 5 of spades or 3 5 of spades here, I don't think really having a spade blocker matters. I decided to go 2/3 pot, just kind of with the intention of just tripling off on pretty much every river, just because I need to find some bluffs here. Any river that isn't a spade, or makes it forward with straight. I think, actually, looking back on this, I should probably turn this into a bluff, just jam here, because it's really hard to find bluffs on this run out exactly. But it's really hard to find bluffs on this run out exactly because of this. I don't really know what queen X I have that barrels turn. I bet ace queen goes for it. I don't think, king queen obviously doesn't. Queen jack I doubt does. It probably check calls. Queen 10. I guess there's some hands. I can have some queens here. But I just figured that I wouldn't be betting this river that often. I don't know if I'm value jamming aces through kings, or if I'm value jamming my sets often enough. He never has a set here. I guess he can have 10s. It's an ambitious call line from 10s. So I don't think he really has any hand here that's a set other than 3s. So maybe I do value jam all of my sets, in which case I should work more bluffs in, and I think pocket pairs deuces through. I probably don't have deuces that often, but 4s through 9s would probably be reasonable hands to bluff with, as well as 8, 9 of spades, 6, 7 of spades, 7, 8 of spades. which are really my only 3 spade combos, I guess, if you think about it, that don't have a queen. Because the ace and the king of spades are on the board, and the jack 10 of jack x of spade combos jack 10, queen jack, I will be check calling the turn with most likely. So yeah, I really only have like not many spade combos. And I guess once I get to this river, I'm probably turning like 10x of spades into a bluff anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I think I should have gone for it in retrospect, but I do just check. And I think he jammed pretty quickly. I don't think it was a snap, but he jammed pretty fast. So I would probably put like all of my money on him having ace queen, but obviously I didn't call with fives to find out. That said, it's PIO time. Again, small blind 3-betting range. I've used this one a bunch. Versus button open 20% of the time seems... I don't know if that's in line with things, but this seems like a reasonable range to do it with. Button flatting, you know, it's going to have some of these that turn into 4-bets. Suited wheel aces, yada yada, sometimes flatting them. I don't know if he even gets down to deuce 3 suited, but I've seen it, you know, it's happened. And so maybe he does have 3-5 suited. Maybe he doesn't have that, but I guess maybe he does. So maybe the 5 of spades matters. Who knows? But those are the ranges we're going with. Bet sizes, a third half pot and pot on the flop for both of us. Give us some raises, and then overbets on the turn and river, including jams. Makes sense to me. So strategy wise on the flop, oops, all the way back. Not a surprise we're betting our entire range on this flop. Yeah, and again, not a surprise that we're sizing up with our best ace X. Mixing that in with our gut shots that block our strongest ace X, so king 10 suited, queen 10 suited. I'm with you so far, PIO. This makes sense. We can also size big with ace jack, I guess. Interesting that we're not sizing that big with ace jack suited as opposed to ace jack offsuit, but this is probably just a frequency thing. I don't really think it matters that much. Yeah, and fives. Just kind of selectively betting a third and not betting a third. It looks like the hands with only one backdoor flush draw are betting. So I guess the fives of the 5 of hearts are betting more often. Yeah, that makes sense. But then the 5 of spades, 5 of clubs is betting. I don't know. I think this is just like it's randomly picking them. But I don't think it really matters. Maybe it's because we block 3-5 suited. And the 5 of clubs is the important part here. Which it looks like it is. So that's actually why. So that somehow matters. Cool. That I don't really think he has a raising range here. And maybe it's a mistake to put a raising range into PIO. Because it's going to try and find raises for him. But yeah, it's going to raise the strongest ace X in sets. And then like, I don't know, deuces, I guess, because it wants to. Sure. But he calls, which I think makes sense. King of spades. Yeah, so interesting that aces are now checking to protect this range. Ace, king, all of our 2-pair hands that I guess don't block his like continuing range are betting again. And what I'm interested in is down here. Wow, the 5 of spades matters a lot. Okay, interesting. Whereas the 6 of spades doesn't because I gave him 3-5 suited. But if I ran this again and I didn't give him 3-5 suited, it would look more like this, right? And again, yeah, obviously 6-7 of spades, 8-6 of spades, these are all betting. And I think one thing to note is the sizing here. It's just going a third, and I went 2/3, which is obviously a mistake because these hands are all going to go with third here as well. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm betting a little too big. And that's not good. But I bet over half pot. It's interesting that ace 3 suited is, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. And he called. So now we have about pot left behind. There was a 10 of clubs. We don't really have many bluffs here, I guess. Yeah, and I think it's just electing to go with its flush draws here, 6-7 of spades. 8-6 of spades. Sixes get in there sometimes too, which probably means fives would if I had not included it. Included 5-3 of spades. I don't think I included 6-3 of spades. No, I did. So it's the same frequency. Maybe it doesn't matter. And it's just a frequency thing, and that probably means that both are fine. And I don't know how often I'm over bluffing. But yeah, I guess we could follow through with sixes and not with fives, or the 6-7 of spades type stuff. But yeah, I guess it makes sense that, like, yeah, I mean, it's firing sixes and sevens here pretty frequently, like 80% of the time with sevens and 65 to 60% of the time with sixes. So I think it's an okay bluff with fives. I don't really know why all of a sudden when it goes from sixes to fives, it's like never bluffing fives, but obviously the fact that it's bluffing sixes more often than not and just like never bluffing fives, it's probably just some PIO magic that I don't know, and I don't think there's anything like theoretically incorrect about bluffing fives. It just chooses not to for a frequency decision. But whatever. Probably means I should have pulled the trigger on the river. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, so I guess just going back to the flop, this is probably just like, yeah, this is just my range of the board. So I should probably have like, yeah, and just my EV here is just, strangely my EV at a position is just better than my equity. Just because of like how often a c-bet here just takes it down, which is kind of interesting. And I bet even the king of spades is good for my, wow, this just killed my equity, dude. I guess when he calls I just have to check give up with all this shit, so makes sense. I get it. I do. Anyway, I'm surprised it even thinks I have deuces here. I probably don't have deuces that often. But yeah, today sucked. Here's a video. Hope I don't run into it tomorrow.